Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. Happy Friday to you. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. Good morning, Susan, Shauna, Lane. Wonderful to see you guys here today. It being Friday, we're going to do the thing that we do typically on Friday, which is that after I pull the card, we're going to go over the various cards for the week. There are four of them this week because on Monday I was having some technical difficulties. What you gonna do? Anyways, let's have some fun today. Let's pull a card. I'm gonna pull a card, ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we are gonna respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. As we do this, we are building into our own lives, and we're ultimately changing up our own experience. So let's have some fun. Let's choose intentionally what we are focusing on today by pulling a card and saying that today I am enough. I am enough. I cultivate inner peace and fulfillment. So I am enough. I cultivate inner peace and fulfillment. Are you enough? You are enough. You cultivate inner peace and fulfillment. I'm going to write that down in the comments. I encourage you guys to do the same thing as we affirm together that we are enough and that we cultivate inner peace and fulfillment. Indeed, we are enough. And this is such a this kind of a message. The message that says that we are enough is so counter to everything that we are told or taught through society. Society has this wonderful way of teaching us that we are not enough. That women are never pretty enough and men are never rich enough. However, if we buy something or do something or think a certain way, that we could get closer to being enough. It's this ridiculous neurosis that permeates our society, and it does so for the benefit of people who are not us. And yet, when we finally just relax into the understanding that we are enough, that we've always been enough, that we have persisted up until this point, and that we are continuing to persist, that every single problem that we've ever had, we've already solved. That every challenge that we've ever faced, we have been enough to overcome that challenge, that no matter what we have gone through, that here we stand. We are still here. We are still on this plane of understanding. We are still living. We are still enjoying life. It gives us that sense of inner peace. It gives us that sense of fulfillment. It's I've observed it for a very long time. The very first time I ever cracked open a women's magazine and I read all about how your body could be better. Oh, but also here's this recipe for chocolate cake. Here's 940 ways to attract your ideal mate. But by the way, your body will never be good enough. So here's an ad for a plastic surgeon. Or when I started to read the magazines for men that said, oh, here's 100 careers that will make you over $100,000 a year. But by the way, if you don't have $1.5 million, you're going to retire in the poorhouse. And I looked at my bank account and was like, well, I don't seem to have $1.5 million. And every girl around me seems to enjoy chocolate cake quite a bit. And it made me kind of understand that there's all of these societal messages which tell us repeatedly that we are not enough. I was on the internet the other day, and somebody was talking about their own body, and they were saying things about it that were not very kind, and they were asking how they could, what they could do in order to overcome these feelings that they have about their own physical form. And of course, I always recommend go to a clothing optional place, because when you go to any place that's clothing optional, recognize that every single person there has a different body. There is no one objective standard. Of course, the media will tell us that there's one objective standard and that we don't meet it, no matter what it is. The fact is that I've never seen two people that had the same body ever. And for so long as our bodies are the shape of what we ask them to do, and for so long as we personally are comfortable inside of them, it's really all that matters. All that matters is that they can do the things we ask them to do, and that we personally feel like we are comfortable inside, which means that we are enough. And I have never seen anybody who was fully, truly content with however much money that they had in the bank. No, I've never heard of it before. No matter what we earn, no matter how much that we have, I have very rarely come across anybody who would consider that they had enough. When we get more, our dreams expand. When we get more, our desires expand. Our lifestyle expands. It's called lifestyle inflation. We have $100 in the bank, and we behave as if we have $100 in the bank. We have $1,000 in the bank, and we start making different decisions that are are in keeping with those $1,000. We have 10,000 or 100,000 or $1,000,000 in the bank. The fact is that I've more regularly seen that when people start to accumulate more material assets, that if they were secure at the beginning, they're still secure at the end. If they were insecure at the beginning, they start worrying about bigger and bigger problems that just didn't apply to them when they had fewer assets. A person with $100 in the bank worries about popping a flat tire. A person with $10,000 in the bank worries about blowing up the engine in their car. A person with $1,000,000 in the bank worries about the stability of their currency. The fact is that worry can fit inside of any wallet, just like insecurity can fit no matter how beautiful your body is. And so when we affirm that we are enough, we sidestep all of this poisonous programming. We sidestep it and say that, oh well, my body looks the way that it looks and it behaves the way that it does, and it's enough. It's enough to carry my consciousness in this moment because here my consciousness is. The amount of money that I have is enough because here I am living indoors and I have running water, and my needs are met, and I eat food and I have clothing and I have shelter, and so therefore it's enough. And when we do this, when we recognize that what we have is enough and what we are is enough, that the inner peace and fulfillment that we cultivate is something that allows us to then really clear our heads and choose intentionally what our path is going to be, rather than neurotically chasing what society tells us that we need, other people's dreams, other people's fantasies that have been sold to us. Rather than doing that, we get to pursue our own. We get to decide where we're going. We get to decide what we're doing. Such a decision requires tremendous responsibility from us. So once we understand that we're enough, then we have to ask ourselves: is what I'm doing with my enoughness, is this bringing me the joy that I seek? The joy that comes in the moment, not the joy that comes later when we finally attain some unrealistic ideal, not the joy that comes from dropping 20 pounds or the joy that comes from having $100,000 in the bank. That stuff's not joy. That stuff never really happens. You drop the 20 pounds, what do you want to do? You want to drop another 20 pounds. Get 100 grand in the bank, what do you want to do? Well, now you want 200 grand in the bank. These ideals that are set up for us are just set up to cause us to fail and to never feel like we are ever achieving anything of value or meaning. And so, since life is something where we get to choose our own adventure and choose our own path, let's make sure that we choose an adventure and a path where we were enough at the beginning and we're enough at the end. The truth is that we change through the course of all these things. We change through achieving our dreams. We change when when we uh, uh, when we make good on all the promises to ourselves that we said that we were going to make good on. We change through the process. There's a little poem that I know that I've recited it here on the wake up call before, about the value of the journey, which is that the bigger the goal, the harder the climb, but taken one step each day at a time. The goal is accomplished, the dream is achieved, or the dream is attained, and the prizes, the wisdom and strength that are gained. Ultimately, it is what happens on the way to our goals, on the way to our dreams, that is most important. And we are enough in every single step of the way. We are enough because we're taking that next step. If we have the strength, and when we have the strength to take that next step, then we know that we were enough to take the previous one. And so let's just rest in that enoughness. Let's just rest in that idea that no matter where we are right now, that we are sufficient to be here, and that no matter where we're going or what direction that we're pointed, that the next step that we take is enough. And then when we look back at our day, what we did today was enough. What we did yesterday was enough. It got us to today. And in this way, we cultivate that inner peace. Because if we're continually striving to be at some standard that we haven't yet attained, how could we possibly be at peace? If I say, well, I'll be at peace when I have $1,000,000 in the bank, then all the way up until that goal, all the way up until that happens, I don't have peace. If I say I'm not at peace until I've lost 15 pounds, then pound 1 through 14 does not give me peace. And yet when I get to pound 15, I might experience joy for just a moment for having achieved my goal. However, I will very quickly come up with another goal and then no longer be at peace. And so let's just cultivate that peace right now in the moment. Let's cultivate the peace of understanding, the peace that comes from knowing that we are doing the right thing, from knowing that we are enough, from knowing that no matter how our day goes, if it goes as planned or if it goes sideways, it doesn't matter. What truly matters is that we're experiencing peace and love and joy and fulfillment in it. And these things are an inside job. These things, these emotional and internal states are something that we cultivate inside of ourselves. I am enough. You are enough. And so let's cultivate that inner peace and fulfillment. All right, so let's take a look at the cards for the week and see where they took us. We the first thing that we did, we affirmed on Monday, actually on Tuesday, because nothing happened on Monday, because we are, or no wake up call happened on Monday, that we are adventurous, that we explore the world to know ourselves. And we talked about how adventure doesn't mean having to go all over the world. It means exploring sometimes what's right in front of our faces. And in many cases, the affirmations that we have that we speak every single morning are indeed right in front of our faces. We Yes, Pepper.
I want to expand on the point you were just making. I actually saw a comic by an artist the other day that said sometimes you don't need to look farther for beauty. And you may think that you live in an ugly place and in an ugly world, and you may think you have to keep going farther and keep looking and looking and looking. But if you just look at, pay attention at what is right in front of you and what is right beneath your feet, you'll see that there's beauty right there. And there's everything that you need right there.
Indeed, it is, because the place around us is enough too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we affirm that we are adventurous, that we explore the world to know ourselves. And I talked about how I did explore the world, how I did some pretty extensive traveling and some pretty extensive and fairly extreme living on by myself on top of a mountain for like 6 months. And in the end, the conclusion that I came to was not that I was changed by living on top of the mountain, rather that that doing such a thing helped me to refocus, and it helped to understand the beauty that's all around me. We affirmed on Tuesday that we are calm, that we remain clear-headed through uncertainty. And let me tell you, when you're having an adventure, whenever we're adventuring, there is always uncertainty. Travel brings uncertainty. But also looking at things closer to ourselves brings uncertainty. We don't, whenever take a closer look at anything, it brings some uncertainty. And as we remain clear-headed through that uncertainty, as we add new information to our brains and remain calm through it, it allows us to parse that information in a parse that information into a uh, you know into new ideas. On uh, on uh, on Thursday, we affirmed that we are decisive, that we focus on what's most important, and we talked about how, unlike all other types of art, in any kind of art, you take some raw material and you turn it into something different. A sculptor will take a stone and turn it into a statue. A painter will take a blank canvas and turn it into a painting. The sculptor can take the stone and turn it into any kind of statue they want to, and the painter can take the blank canvas and turn it into any kind of painting they want to. The photographer, on the other hand, has a different kind of an art. The photographer's art is all about choosing what is most important in any given scene and taking a picture of that, making a still life of that, freezing that moment in time. And the photographer has a couple of major decisions to make whenever they take a picture. And the first one is what to include and what not to include in the picture. So the photographer has to choose to, as the card says, focus on what is most important. And when we are calm, it helps us to focus on what's most important. It helps us to make rational and clear-headed choices, because these choices permit us, or because this allows us to really choose what is most important, in any given situation. And so too does the photographer do this. The photographer chooses what to keep in frame, what not to keep in frame, how close to be to it. I remember once I was reading a review of a telephoto lens, the person who was probably one of the internet's first influencers, and in a fundamental way really remains that way. The guy's name is Ken Rockwell. He basically he's a working photographer, and he talks about cameras, and he has a philosophy about cameras that is far different than the buy the biggest best camera that you can possibly afford philosophy. He typically talks about what people really need and how people really use, and says before you go out and spend money on a camera, spend some time and learn how to take a picture. And so he's talked a lot about pictures, but he was talking particularly about a telephoto lens and how most people don't need a telephoto lens. But if you really do want a telephoto lens, this is how you use one. And he shared some pictures that he had taken with a telephoto of things that were ordinary objects that he had taken very, very close pictures of. And he's like, oh, this is the detail on a fountain in Las Vegas, and this is the handle of a teacup. He's like, this is what you use telephotos for. He's like, if you the point of a telephoto is not to take a mountain and then bring the mountain closer to you. Just drive closer to the mountain. The point of a telephoto is to get much closer to things that you can't otherwise get close to. Like, for example, this detail on this fountain that I thought was really cool, but it was 40 feet away and on the other end of a fountain, and I couldn't get there. So therefore, I whipped out the telephoto and took a picture of it. When we decide, one of the things that we have to decide is that we are is that what it is that we're going to point at, and then how close we're going to get to that thing, and that's exactly what photographers do. Of course, that decisiveness is one thing that helps us tremendously when we decide that we are enough, and that cultivate that inner peace and fulfillment. And so that's how we end up our week, by saying that we are enough and that we cultivate that inner peace and fulfillment. That no matter what the world has to say about us, that the fact is, and the undeniable evidence is, that no matter what we've gone through, we're still here. And let that be our mantra, that no matter what we've gone through, we're still here, because this allows us to retain the correct perspective about our enoughness. The Germans have a word for it, and it doesn't really have an English translation. It's SPA, and they have that little weird curly QB. It's pronounced spas, but basically it just means enoughness, and it's a word that sort of means sufficiency, that everything is enough, and so when we cultivate that in our own lives, the inner peace and fulfillment is a foregone conclusion. So everybody's searching for peace, everybody's searching for meaning, and when we recognize that we are enough, we always have been enough, then that peace and that fulfillment come naturally, because it leads us all into our awesome Saturday card, which is awesome that we are awesome, and let's recognize our inherent value and worth. When we understand our enoughness, then our inherent value and worth comes to the forefront. I'm inherently valuable and worthy. You are inherently valuable and worthy. We are worthy and valuable no matter what we do, no matter what we have, no matter what titles that we have earned, no matter what accolades that we've earned, no matter what trophies that we have in life. We are inherently valuable and worthy simply because we are here. And because we are here, we have the ability to manifest change. And that change that we manifest comes from the deepest longings of our hearts. And the deepest longings of our hearts are gifts that are given to us by our Creator. And so let's express those gifts, and let's express those gifts in a big and beautiful way by recognizing that we have that inherent value and worth. We are awesome people. All right, so my beautiful friends, I will return on Saturday with an awesome Saturday service, because it's awesome Saturday. However, for the next week, I'm going to be taking a vacation from the wake-up call. So I'm going to let myself sleep, because I'm not getting enough of that. I'm going to let myself sleep at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday of next week. I'm still going to post a nice, positive, empowering message. However, at 9 a.m., it's still going to show up. And just me personally live is not going to show up for the next week. I'm taking a 1-week vacation after 3 years of doing this every single day. Feels good to look at this little project and say, you know what? Whether I show up every day or not, I am also enough. And so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. If you choose to come to the awesome Saturday service. We'll be continuing to talk about magic words, those teeny tiny little words that we have or that we use all the time in our lives that have such a profound impact on our understanding. And then and then after we do that, you will not see me until the next awesome Saturday service. However, I will continue to be on the internet. Just what uh, what 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 I do with the wake up call is the most on mission thing that I do in my entire life. So I'm gonna take a vacation from it. I will be back on Monday, next Monday, not this Monday. So on Monday the 26th, I will return. It's gonna feel real good to not have to set an 8:30 alarm and to just sleep. Gonna be feel really good, and hopefully that will help me to refill my cup so I can continue to give from my saucer. All right, my beautiful friends, I'll chat with you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Until then, I love you. I appreciate you. I care about you. I'll talk to you on Saturday, and until we meet again live on Monday the 26th. Aloha from paradise.